10.5, buying house with mortgage. Again, we have down payment as amount of cash the buyer must pay to the seller before lending institution will grant the buyer the mortgage. The final step is called closing. Here again, we have a definition for homeowner's mortgage. It's a long-term loan in which the property is pledged as security for payment of the difference between down payment and sell price. Here we have two types of rates. The two most popular types of mortgage loans are conventional, there's this one, and adjustable rate loan. The major difference between these two is that for conventional loan we have fixed rate, but for adjustable rate loan we don't have fixed. So it's better to not have adjustable rate loan because it's changing over time. Points are interest prepaid by the buyer and may be used to reduce the stated interest rate. The buyer's monthly income before any deduction, that is called gross monthly income. And the point is, from gross monthly income, subtract any monthly debt payments with more than, so this is important, with more than 10 monthly payments remaining to obtain adjusted monthly income. So if you had the payment that is, the remaining payments are less than 10 months, they're not going to use that one. They're not going to subtract that from your income. And this part that I have points, we are going to use for each point, we're going to use 1%. So each point is equal to 1%. Here again, we have this formula for M. Principal and interest payment formula. Here we have different words again. In 2.4, this one was called installment payment, but here is principal and interest, so the same. M is principal and interest payment, P is amount of mortgage or amount of finance or principal. Since here we're working on mortgage, that's why it says amount of mortgage. R again is our rate, and it's in decimal. N is number of mortgage payments per year. T is time. This one is 12 because we have 12 months in a year. Here we have another table. This is for monthly principal and interest payment per $1,000 of mortgage. On top we have number of years, and left column we have the rate. The Martins wish to purchase a house selling for $258,000. They plan to obtain a loan from their bank. The bank requires the 17% down payment and a payment of 2 points payable to a bank at the time of closing. That 2 points is for when they have their closing. Part A, determine the mortgage down payment. So it's 17%. We have to multiply by purchase price is $258,000. So part A, down payment is, it's better to have 20% if you're planning to have down payment. So it's 17% times $258,000. That is $43,860. This is down payment. Part B, determine amount of the smartest mortgage. This $258,000 is selling price minus down payment. Our answer is $214,140. So that is amount of mortgage. Part C, determine cost of 2 points paid. I said for each point, we use 1%. Meaning 2 points is 2%. But we have to convert this to decimal number. Amount of mortgage is $214,140. We have to use what amount of mortgage is multiply that one by 2%. We're not working based on what down payment is. We're not paying anything for that part. They're not charging anything because we already paid. So multiply by 2%. So at closing, they have to pay $4,282.80. So here on the spot we have they purchased house selling for $249,000. They made 15% down payment, and that was $37,350, and obtained a 30-year conventional mortgage for $211,650 at 7%. They also paid 2 points at closing. The monthly principal interest payment on their mortgage is $1,408.11. And note that points are prepaid interest. Part A, determine the total amount including principal, interest, down payment, points they have to pay for their house for 30 years. First, what is given, we have monthly payment is this number. So this is monthly payment. We have to multiply by how many total months we have. So this is for 30 years. Multiplied by 12 months. Now finding total. The total paid is equal to, I have to multiply this $1,408.11 multiplied by 360. Here we have down payment, there's $7,000, 350, and what else we have? Okay, we have to multiply by 2% to find the closing cost for that part. So here is 2 points. Each point was 1%. And the mortgage is for 211,650 multiplied by 2%. So this part is equal to 4,233. So plus points. First multiply, here is the answer. Then add these. I added all these and the answer is $548,502.60. Now part B, how much of the cost in part A is interest? Finding interest, I only need to subtract. But we had total here. Minus selling price, which is 249,000. So interest is $299,502.60. How much of the first mortgage payment is applied to principal? Monthly principal and interest payment on their mortgage is $1,408.11. So this is principal plus interest. That is monthly payment. I'm going to use that one. And using I equal to P times R times T. I'm trying to find interest. First, I'm going to write what is given. Our principal is 211,650. Rate is 7%. And time is, since we have monthly payment and I want to have this time in year, so 1 month Converting this to year, I have to divide by how many months we have in a year. So it's 12. 1/12. This is here. Now find the answer for interest. So principal times rate times time. Number I have here is $1,234.63. Here, what is asking is how much of the first mortgage payment, that is $1,408.11, is applied to the principal. So I have to subtract. Okay, so this one is the answer. It's 1 month. We're trying to find how many years is that. So writing 1 on top, you have to ask yourself how many months we have in a year. That is in denominator, 12 months in a year. So this way you can convert. For example, if you had 3 months, their payment was every 3 months. We don't have, but in this case, but we had something in other sections, something like this. And what we did was 3 months on top divided by how many months we have in a year. That is in denominator. And then simplify. Here we have 1/4, and that is year. So do same thing for when you have day. You have to divide by 365. So you have to ask how many days we have in a year. They purchased house for $275,000 with down payment $115,000, and obtain 15-year adjustable rate mortgage. The interest rate is based on 1 year, and that was 0.5%. And the add-on rate, which is 3%. The initial rate period is 5 years. And thereafter, the interest rate is adjusted once a year. Determine adjustable rate mortgage. So part A, adjustable rate mortgage, that is equal to 1 year. Treasury bill rate plus add-on rate. These two are given as 0.5% plus 3% is 3.5%. Determine initial monthly payment for principal and interest. First, I'm going to find principal. I can find that one. Selling price minus down payment if they had any. So selling price is $275,000 minus 115,000. Here for principal, I have $160,000. That is their mortgage. Now for this part, we have to use the table that we have here on top. So this one is monthly principal and interest payment per $1,000. This one is mortgage $160,000, but since that part is per $1,000, we have to divide by 1,000. This was step one. Now here is step two. This number divided by 1,000. And that is equal to 160. Now step three. I'm drawing that table here on this part. So on top we have 15 years. Here on the left column we have our rate, 3.5. Now we're trying to find the answer for this part. And that is monthly principal and interest. Per $1,000 of mortgage. So here is the table that we need to use to find the answer for that part. Using the left column, find 3.5%. How many years? We have 15 years on top. And based on that, the answer for this part is 7.14883. So writing that number here on this part. Now step 4. So initial monthly payment for principal and interest. Based on what we had in step 2, after we divided mortgage divided by $1,000, we got 160. So we have to use this number, 160 multiplied by the answer that we had in part 3. So this is equal to 160 times 7.14883. I run it and the answer is $1,143.81. So this was the answer for part B. And also I'm going to use, okay, let's see if I have that formula here on this part. I'm going to use this formula to find the answer for part B. So we have two methods, either that one or use this to find the answer. This is principal and interest payment. This one is easier to find because you don't need to find all these steps. Here again, we have part B. Finding M. On top, we have P times R divided by N divided by 1 minus 1 plus R over N to the power negative times N times T. Our principal, our mortgage was $160,000. So first you have to know what is mortgage. See this part, you already should know that one. Multiply by our rate is 3.5%. Writing this in decimal number, so it's 0.035 divided by N. How many months we have in a year is 12. Denominator 1 minus 1 plus. Again, same thing here, our rate, and divided by N, which is 12 months. Power negative times how many months we have in a year, that is N, so it's 12 times. This loan is for 15 years, so this is our time. This is our answer is 1,143.81 after rounding to cents. It doesn't matter what method you use, you're gonna have exactly the same answer for this part. If after the 5-year initial rate period, the rate of 1-year Treasury bill rises to 1.5%, determine a new ARM, determine new adjustable rate mortgage. So for C, again, exactly same as part A, but we changed Treasury bill rate. Now when this price says that it's 1.5% plus, here this part was 3%. So the answer is 4.5%.